It was a bright, busy morning in downtown Manhattan, the streets alive with the usual chaos of traffic, pedestrians, and the distant hum of construction. Darius Bennett, a black entrepreneur in his early 40s, walked confidently down the sidewalk, wearing a perfectly tailored suit and carrying a sleek leather briefcase. His stride was calm, measured, and purposeful, reflecting years of experience, discipline, and success in business. Darius had always preferred to let his accomplishments speak quietly, avoiding ostentation. But today he would be confronted with an audacious challenge to his dignity in public. From across the street, a white man in his mid-40s spotted him and immediately took offense for no apparent reason. "Hey, what are you doing here? You don't belong in this part of town," the man shouted, striding toward Darius with an air of assumed superiority. Darius paused, raising a calm eyebrow, and replied evenly, "I assure you, I am exactly where I need to be. Perhaps we should discuss this respectfully." The man ignored him, continuing to mock and belittle him in front of passing pedestrians, attempting to humiliate him publicly, and asserting dominance based solely on his own bias and assumptions. Despite the public humiliation, Darius remained composed, his movements deliberate, and his posture upright. He continued forward, allowing the man's words to hang in the air, demonstrating the strength and confidence of a man whose authority was not dependent on recognition from others. Bystanders slowed their steps, watching the escalating tension, sensing the stark contrast between impulsive arrogance and calm, earned authority. Darius's poise and restraint highlighted the difference between petty aggression and dignified composure, showing the power of professionalism in the face of confrontation. As the man continued yelling, Darius calmly added, "If you need confirmation, you can verify. My family and I own this building." The words landed like a shockwave. The man's face went pale instantly, his confidence collapsing as he realized the truth. Darius Bennett was not just another businessman. He was the owner of the entire building they stood in front of. Pedestrians paused, some whispering, some staring, witnessing the sudden and dramatic reversal of authority. Darius maintained his calm, watching as the man froze, unable to process the revelation. Employees and bystanders observed silently, recognizing the lesson in humility, respect, and the power of composure. The man who had attempted to humiliate him was now rendered speechless, and the surrounding crowd bore witness to the stark contrast between assumptions and reality, arrogance and earned authority. Darius adjusted his briefcase and continued walking, fully aware that his calm professionalism had not only corrected a moment of public disrespect, but also left a lasting impression on everyone who had seen the exchange. The morning after the confrontation, Darius Bennett arrived at his office building with calm, measured confidence, the sunlight reflecting off the glass facade, highlighting the city's vibrant energy. The memory of the previous day's incident lingered subtly, not as frustration but as a vivid reminder of how assumptions and bias can distort perception, and how composure and quiet authority can instantly correct them. As he walked through the lobby, employees greeted him with polite nods and smiles, their recognition of his calm presence and professional authority unmistakable. Darius moved with deliberate steps, briefcase in hand, demonstrating that true respect is earned through consistent professionalism and competence rather than demanded or assumed. Every gesture and interaction reinforced his authority, quietly commanding attention without the need for confrontation. Throughout the morning, Darius attended meetings with department heads and staff, reviewing reports, approving projects, and guiding strategic decisions with precise, clear instruction. His voice remained steady and calm, his instructions deliberate, and his movements purposeful. Employees responded attentively, their behavior reflecting an understanding that his authority was rooted in experience, consistent professionalism, and decisive action. The prior day's confrontation had become a quiet lesson for all who had witnessed it. Assumptions based on appearances can be shattered instantly when confronted with undeniable skill and composure. Darius allowed his professionalism to speak for itself, shaping the office environment with calm authority rather than dwelling on the insult. Later in the afternoon, Darius moved through the floors, checking on operations, assisting staff, and resolving minor issues efficiently and calmly. His presence instilled confidence in the employees, demonstrating that leadership is communicated through measured action, composure, and competence, rather than aggression or superficial displays of power. Staff who had witnessed the street confrontation reflected on the dramatic reversal, noting the stark contrast between the man who had tried to humiliate him and Darius's composed professional authority. The office atmosphere subtly shifted as respect and attentiveness became the natural norms, reinforcing the transformative power of consistent professionalism and calm demeanor. By evening, as sunlight faded across the lobby's polished floors and the building gradually emptied, Darius paused briefly to take in the surroundings. The incident had evolved from a moment of attempted public humiliation into a vivid demonstration of calm authority and professionalism. His composed confidence and steady professionalism had corrected misperceptions, reinforced respect, and left a lasting impression on employees and observers alike. Walking toward his office, briefcase in hand, Darius carried the quiet satisfaction of knowing that true authority is earned through competence, composure, and consistent, measured action, leaving an enduring impact on everyone who witnessed it. By midweek, Darius Bennett had fully settled into the rhythm of his office and the flow of his professional life, moving through the building with calm authority and quiet confidence that naturally commanded respect. The memory of the street confrontation remained vivid, serving as a subtle reminder of how quickly assumptions and bias can cloud judgment, and how composed, measured authority can instantly correct them. Darius walked with deliberate steps, briefcase in hand, greeting staff and colleagues with polite nods and calm smiles, his posture straight and demeanor steady. His presence alone set the tone for the environment, subtly demonstrating that true respect is earned through professionalism, competence, and composure, rather than assumed or demanded. Throughout the morning, Darius conducted meetings with department heads, reviewing updates, discussing strategy, and providing guidance with clear, deliberate authority. His voice was calm, instructions precise, and every gesture communicated experience and control. Employees responded attentively, fully aware that his composed presence reflected years of skill, professionalism, and responsibility. The contrast between the arrogant man who had attempted to humiliate him and the calm, commanding presence Darius now projected highlighted an important lesson for all observers. Assumptions based on appearances can be shattered instantly when confronted with undeniable competence and authority. Later in the afternoon, a minor operational issue arose on one of the floors. Darius addressed it calmly and decisively, giving clear instructions, coordinating staff efficiently, and resolving the problem without panic or agitation. Employees reflected quietly on the dramatic reversal of authority from the street incident, recognizing how effortlessly Darius's calm professionalism had restored the balance of respect. The office environment had subtly shifted. Attention, attentiveness, and quiet acknowledgement of his authority became natural responses among staff, demonstrating the transformative power of consistent composure and earned respect. By evening, as the building emptied and the polished lobby reflected the fading sunlight, Darius paused to reflect on the day's events. The street confrontation had evolved into more than a moment of attempted public humiliation. It had become a vivid demonstration of earned authority, calm professionalism, and composure under pressure. His consistent, deliberate actions had corrected misperceptions, reinforced respect, and left a lasting impression on everyone who observed him. Walking to his office, briefcase in hand, Darius carried the quiet satisfaction of knowing that true authority is demonstrated through competence, calm demeanor, and consistent, measured action, leaving an enduring impact on all who witnessed it. By the following morning, Darius Bennett moved through his office building with the same composed confidence that had become his trademark, his presence commanding subtle respect from everyone he encountered. The memory of the street confrontation lingered, not as frustration, but as a vivid reminder of how quickly assumptions and bias can cloud judgment, and how calm, measured authority can immediately correct misperceptions. Darius walked with deliberate steps, briefcase in hand, greeting employees with polite nods and composed smiles, his demeanor projecting competence, calm, and authority. The lobby, once the scene of public tension, now reflected the quiet command of a man whose influence was earned through professionalism, skill, and consistent action rather than aggression or assumption. Throughout the morning, Darius conducted meetings with department heads, reviewed reports, and guided strategic decisions with precision and clarity. His tone remained calm and deliberate, instructions clear and purposeful, and his posture conveyed control and competence. Employees responded attentively, fully aware of the subtle authority Darius wielded through professionalism and composure. The contrast between the arrogance of the man who had tried to humiliate him and Darius's steady, commanding presence reinforced an important lesson for observers. Respect is earned through consistent skill, composure, and responsibility, not assumed through superficial judgment. Darius allowed his actions to set the tone for the building, cultivating an atmosphere of focus, efficiency, and subtle reverence for professionalism. Later in the afternoon, Darius moved through the floors, checking operations, assisting staff, and resolving minor issues efficiently and calmly. His presence inspired confidence, demonstrating that leadership is communicated through composure, skill, and decisive action rather than aggression or superficial displays of power. Employees reflected on the street incident, recognizing the dramatic reversal that had occurred and the way Darius's calm authority had transformed perceptions. Even those who had previously doubted him now observed his professionalism with admiration, internalizing the lesson that respect and authority are cultivated through consistent competence and composure. By evening, as the building emptied and sunlight reflected off polished floors, Darius paused in the lobby to survey the space. The confrontation had evolved from a moment of public humiliation into a vivid demonstration of earned authority and composure. His calm confidence and steady professionalism had corrected misperceptions, reinforced respect, and left a lasting impression on employees and observers alike. Walking to his office, briefcase in hand, Darius carried the quiet satisfaction of knowing that his composure, skill, and consistent professionalism had transformed a potentially humiliating encounter into a lasting lesson, illustrating that true leadership and respect are grounded in competence, calmness, and deliberate action. By midweek, Darius Bennett had fully reinforced his calm authority throughout the office building, moving through corridors, meeting rooms, and workspaces with measured composure that naturally commanded respect. The memory of the street confrontation lingered, not as a source of frustration, but as a vivid reminder of how quickly assumptions and prejudice can distort judgment, and how calm, professional authority can instantly correct misperceptions. Darius walked confidently, briefcase in hand, greeting staff with polite nods and steady smiles, his posture and demeanor signaling responsibility, competence, and quiet power earned through years of consistent professionalism. His presence alone shaped the environment, demonstrating that calm composure, expertise, and professionalism are far more impactful than arrogance or superficial displays of authority. Throughout the morning, Darius held meetings with department heads, reviewed reports, and provided guidance on strategic initiatives with precise and deliberate authority. His voice remained calm and steady, instructions clear and carefully articulated, and every gesture communicated experience and competence. Employees responded promptly, recognizing his expertise and the quiet power of his composed presence. The contrast between the man who had attempted to humiliate him on the street and the calm, commanding presence Darius now projected was striking, reinforcing the lesson that respect is earned through consistent professionalism and composure rather than assumed through appearance or aggression. Observers, including staff who had doubted him previously, absorbed this subtle but powerful example of authority. Later in the afternoon, Darius moved through the floors of the building, checking operations, assisting staff, and resolving minor issues efficiently and calmly. His presence inspired confidence, guiding employees to perform effectively while reinforcing the idea that true leadership is demonstrated through measured action, composure, and skill rather than intimidation. Staff who had witnessed the street confrontation reflected quietly on the dramatic reversal, recognizing how effortlessly Darius's calm professionalism had restored authority and respect. The office atmosphere had shifted subtly, as attention, attentiveness, and quiet acknowledgement of his authority became natural responses, demonstrating the transformative power of consistent composure and earned respect. By evening, as the building emptied and sunlight reflected across polished floors, Darius paused briefly in the lobby. The confrontation on the street had evolved into more than an isolated incident. It had become a living demonstration of calm authority, composure, and professionalism. His deliberate actions and consistent professionalism had corrected misperceptions, reinforced respect, and left a lasting impression on everyone who had observed it. Walking toward his office, briefcase in hand, Darius carried the quiet satisfaction of knowing that true authority is cultivated through skill, composure, and consistent action, leaving a subtle but enduring impact on all who witnessed it. By the following week, Darius Bennett had fully established himself as the calm, authoritative presence in his office building, his composed demeanor influencing staff, colleagues, and anyone who interacted with him. The memory of the street confrontation lingered as a vivid reminder of how quickly assumptions and bias can distort perception, and how measured professional authority can instantly correct misjudgments. Darius walked deliberately, briefcase in hand, greeting employees with polite nods and warm smiles, his posture and steady gaze communicating competence, responsibility, and earned authority. The building, once a scene of public tension, now reflected his quiet command, rooted in professionalism, skill, and consistency, rather than aggression or superficial assertion. Throughout the morning, Darius oversaw meetings, reviewed departmental updates, and guided teams with clarity, precision, and calm authority. His instructions were deliberate, his voice steady, and every movement reinforced his professional competence. Employees responded attentively, aware that his authority was grounded in experience, consistent professionalism, and decisive action. Observers, including staff who had witnessed the street incident, recognized the stark contrast between the arrogance of the man who had insulted him and Darius's calm, commanding presence. Each interaction reinforced the lesson that true respect and authority are earned through skill, composure, and measured behavior, rather than superficial appearances or impulsive judgment. Later in the afternoon, a minor operational issue arose that required immediate attention. Darius responded with calm decisiveness, issuing precise instructions, coordinating staff efficiently, and resolving the situation without agitation. Employees watched how effortlessly he maintained control, turning a potential disruption into an example of leadership and professionalism. The previous confrontation had become a living lesson. Assumptions and bias can be corrected instantly when confronted with calm authority and consistency in action. The office environment had been subtly transformed, with respect, attentiveness, and admiration flowing naturally from the staff as they absorbed the impact of his leadership. By evening, as the building emptied and the sunlight waned across polished floors, Darius paused briefly in the lobby. The confrontation on the street had evolved into more than a personal incident. It had become a demonstration of calm authority, professionalism, and the enduring impact of composure. His deliberate actions and consistent professionalism had corrected assumptions, reinforced respect, and left a lasting impression on all who witnessed it. Walking toward his office, briefcase in hand, Darius carried the quiet satisfaction of knowing that true authority is demonstrated through competence, composure, and consistent measured action, leaving a profound and enduring influence on everyone around him. By the end of the week, Darius Bennett had fully cemented his presence as a calm, authoritative figure within his office building, leaving a lasting impression on employees, colleagues, and anyone who had witnessed the dramatic street confrontation. The memory of the man's arrogant attempt to humiliate him lingered not as anger, but as a vivid illustration of how quickly assumptions and bias can cloud judgment, and how calm, measured authority can instantly reverse perceptions. Darius walked through the building with composed confidence, briefcase in hand, greeting staff with polite nods, his posture and demeanor signaling responsibility, professionalism, and quiet authority earned through years of consistent excellence. Throughout the day, Darius conducted meetings, guided staff, and oversaw operations with calm precision. His voice remained steady, instructions deliberate, and his movements purposeful, reinforcing authority without the need for confrontation or assertion. Employees responded promptly, their recognition of his skill, experience, and composure creating an atmosphere of attentiveness efficiency, and respect. The contrast between the man who had attempted to publicly insult him and the calm, commanding presence Darius demonstrated was unmistakable, illustrating that true authority is earned through consistent competence, professionalism, and measured action. Later in the afternoon, Darius continued his rounds, assisting staff, resolving minor issues, and ensuring smooth operations. Observers reflected on the dramatic reversal in the street incident, realizing how quickly assumptions could be overturned when confronted with calm, undeniable skill and composure. His presence transformed the office environment, reinforcing respect, attentiveness, and awareness among employees and bystanders alike. The incident had become more than a confrontation. It was now a clear example of humility, earned authority, and the power of professionalism. By evening, as Darius concluded his day and left the building, he paused briefly to take in the lobby. The confrontation had evolved into a lasting demonstration of calm authority, professional competence, and composure under pressure. His deliberate actions and consistent professionalism had corrected assumptions, reinforced respect, and left a profound impression on all who had witnessed it. Darius walked away with quiet satisfaction, fully aware that true authority is cultivated through skill, composure, and consistent action, leaving a legacy of respect, professionalism, and influence that would endure far beyond a single moment of public confrontation.